Last week, DJ Envy and his wife was promoting their book, about their love life, marriage, all that good stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But as always, when people start to air out their dirty laundry, clips go viral. They did an interview on the Shade Room, and one of the things that went viral.
And I'm sure so many women can relate. Like, you want to reward that man for that work. And the only reward that you have to offer is an orgasm. But even if I didn't feel it, I would still be performative. So yes, I was faking it.
We got into like a argument, and then she was like, well, I don't be having an orgasm. She didn't say it in that. She speaks way more eloquent than I would have. And I was like, what? And she was like, I don't. I'm like, no, yes, you do. I hear it. Like, yeah, and then she was like, no, I'm faking it. I'm like, every time? And she was like, yeah. And then that just crushed me because I thought I was putting in work. Like, I'm sitting there thinking I'm, Big Daddy Long Leg.
You know what I mean? Silly me, haha, laughing jokes, things like that. The internet went crazy with it. You know how it goes. The internet go internet. You can't stop that. But then I thought, like, well, as he later, informed that.
When me and my wife wrote this book, I found out years ago that she was faking orgasms. So pretty much our first 10 years of our relationship. You got to remember, we were together since 16 and 15. So at about 17 when we started having sex, I didn't know what I was doing. I was her first.
You said you was Big Daddy Long Leg.
I thought I was Big Daddy Long Leg.
It was when they were young. It was like 15, 16. I believe they said the first time having sex together was 17. So, at that early age, I was like, all right, you know what? It's understandable. You know what I'm saying? But then he said it was like 10 years. So it's like, whoa.
It went on for 10 years?
It went on for 10 years. From when they first started having sex to 10 years later, she finally told him that he never satisfied her. So, you know what I'm saying? So I thought, all right, you know what? We can have, I feel like a good conversation could come from this. So, right off the bat, I want to say, hi, Mom. Don't watch this episode. Because I have no idea where this is going to go. You know what I mean? But ladies, obvious question. Have you guys ever faked it?
Yeah.
Don't be shy. You know what I mean? Have you ever?
I have.
You got 1 year.
Plenty of times.
Plenty of times. Okay. We're gonna come back to this, but you know what I'm saying? Just want to check the temperature.
I have.
Okay.
Definitely have, and have definitely heard a couple of egos. Okay. Yeah.
We go, like I said, we're gonna come back to that. We're gonna come back to that. We're gonna come back to that. Now also, ladies, have you ever had that conversation with a man that he wasn't, or couldn't fulfill your needs and wasn't satisfying you? Have you had that conversation with a man?
I had it with in one relationship.
Okay. Tiff?
No.
Never had that conversation? Steph?
I've had it come up, but not in exactly a conversation form, so not really.
Krista?
Yeah, for sure. I've had that conversation before.
Okay.
And it hurts feelings, Paul. A lot of men aren't ready for that.
we gonna deep dive into it, but fellas, I want to highlight y'all now for a minute. Have y'all ever had that conversation?
I'm turning my camera off, but not man.
Have y'all ever been in that situation where a lady let you know that you wasn't doing it right, or was what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, just making sure. Just checking. Waykme, you kind of quiet over there?
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, was there a 10-year gap between that conversation that had that conversation?
No, fucking no.
Nah.
But yeah,
so Paul, I think that 10-year gap, I think that's where the book sales come in. It's just to sell books. I mean, you got to understand. So you said it, because I didn't follow the story. So if they started at 17, I can understand a couple years. But girlfriends have girlfriends. They have family members. They talk. I can't believe no 10-year gap. So on the dude side, he should be communicating with her, finding out what she like over 10 years. So to say it was a 10-year gap, I can't go with that. And just to follow up on a question that you asked the ladies was like, yeah, heard a lot of egos. I just want to know why you faked it. What was the purpose of you faking it? And what caused you to fake it for so long?
I can answer that.
Okay, so Steph, you're gonna go first.
I'm not.
First off, how long did you wait? Now, how long anything else? How long did it take you to have the conversation, and then you can answer up the rest of his questions?
Okay. I'm going to answer the second question first, which was, why would a woman fake it? We're all around, I believe, the same age, us women here, I believe, in our 30s, 20s or 30s, throughout the 30s or whatever. And we were raised in a time where sex was advertised for men completely a lot of the time. So growing up with that mentality of sex is for men, it's finished when the man finishes. A lot of the time, that was the era we were growing up in. And then as age and experience came along, I think we got more comfortable with those voices of expressing what we need sexually, because, you know, that wasn't how sex was portrayed. I mean, even if you look at, you know, porn, sex is very men egocentric. So, and then I do want to ask, before I answer his question, is how long for the women was it from the first time you had sex to when you had your first orgasm? Because that plays a big role in their timeline, I think. They sound like they were each other's first. So I wanted to ask the ladies that.
Correct, they were. From the story they told, they were each other's first, I believe, and she, you know, she said he's his own, her only. You know, they've been married since then, high school sweethearts, college, and all that good stuff. And we all know he dibbled and dabbled in some others, but yeah. So, but yeah, ladies, that is a good question as well. How, you know, when did you reach the big O for the first time? To be nosy.
I'll jump in. I think Mr. Butler's question about it going on for 10 years, I think it's completely realistic. If they were in their 20s, how many of us had really good communication in our 20s? So we can start there, which is why probably most people's relationships didn't go on too long in their 20s. I grew up during like the Little Kim, Foxy Brown era. So you already know when it came down to expressing ourselves, you know, like my dad didn't want me buying those albums at all, but you know, as far as being able to be honest.
Shout out to that Lil Kim album
cover.
hardcore
cover, bro.
Yeah. Shout out to that.
You know, I think just communication is one thing, and that's like a part of the orchestration of sex to some extent. But on top of it, as far as lying, I mean, I'll say it's not with my current relationship that I had to lie or make those excuses.
Okay, Chris, go ahead now. Shout out to the homie. I know.
On this call. But as far as like previous relationships where it just wasn't great, maybe communication or my goal wasn't necessarily the same, I would definitely say that there were times that I maybe just stroked the ego and then was honest maybe afterwards or in anger.
Funny you say in anger, because Envy's wife, like he said, he brought it up. He said she didn't tell him till 10 years later in the midst of an argument. So at that point, it kind of comes up a little vindictive on some, you can't even satisfy me. And he like, wait, what happened? But
well, it depends. Did she say it that way? We don't know.
Well, that's what they said. It was in an argument. It was in the midst of an argument that she brought it up. So after 10 years of not saying nothing, she waited until that moment when, you know, during an argument to say it. So I don't know if she said it that way. But
was it out of frustration?
Possibly. They might have been arguing about that. Might have been arguing about something else. Could have been arguing about, you know, taking a garbage out.
A lot of variables to that.
Nigga, your sex is whack.
But you know,
after the Erica Mena scandal, like, how are you cheating on me with Erica Mena when you can't even make me?
And that goes to the ego part, because in his mind, I'm handling business, so I'm gonna give it to. I'm nice out here with it, so you can get some. Oh, wait, I'm not good. Wait, what happened?
And wait a second, can you guys tell when we're fronting? Because I'm like, you can kind of fake it, but not really. Like when it's really there, it's there.
Yeah.
No.
So I think it depends on the actress.
I was just about to say, ask my ex-boyfriend because he swore every time.
Damn.
Number, I'm asking.
No.
Ask him right now, bro.
Ask him right now.
For the first time ever in WMD.
Hey, Paul, invite him to the Zoom.
Right. Send me a link. Let's
bring him to the table.
As a man, you have your questions like, damn, did I? Like,
But
You can
I
have.
have a question. I have a question for Karina, because Karina, you said that there was only one time that you actually, because I'm not like I'm more curious about not why you faked it, but what drove you to have the one conversation you had.
So for me, so to piggyback off, I think it was Steph's answer. One, I think a lot of it was that for me too. I grew up with the emphasis being placed on like the only role that we play as women to have sex is just to literally reproduce. And so it was never really heavily focused on women's pleasure. But then when I got into this last relationship and this one conversation came up, one, it was out of frustration. I was frustrated. I was with this person for 2 years. I patiently tried to like work things out physically with him and see what was going on. I also understood that I was like his second partner in 10 years. And so I was trying to be understanding of that.
Right.
But at the same time, I was also trying to protect him. And I don't know if it was protecting his ego or protecting his feelings. I don't know what it was, but I felt like he was already really insecure as it was. And I felt like I went and kept telling him, hey, like, you're not satisfying me.
Right.
I didn't know how to really approach it. And so one day it just got out of hand and I was just like, look, like you're not doing it. And if you think you are, you're not.
Okay.
And
that was within 2 years, you said, right?
It was within 2 years. And to be honest, like I know Krista said a lot of men's egos got hurt with her having these conversations. I don't know if his ego got hurt, but he definitely made no moves to change anything. Like he gave all he
I'm getting mine.
that was gonna be my next question. I was gonna ask you like you know, how did he receive that pause? But he did he go don't laugh, bro. but I want to know if he took what you said like into, you know, consideration, but obviously he said he didn't. He didn't change
I have no
anything.
idea if he ever internally took it in and like absorbed this information, but I will say the response that I got though was ridiculous because all he said to me in response was, well, you got a stroke in or two, so like you should be satisfied.
Whoa, no, he's okay.
That's reckless.
Yeah, he's wild.
Wow.
He's wild. Yeah. Now, Steph didn't hear you, Karina. Say that again. What you said? Steph didn't hear you.
Oh no, what I said was his response was, oh well, you know, at least you got a feel for a stroke here and there, and so you should be satisfied.
And that's that men's ego that we've been taught to cater to.
Correct.
But
that's
do we really consider that a man at the end of the day? Are we?
I wouldn't.
So the reality for me is, first of all, we need to be clear. I think everyone fakes it. It's not just women. Men fake it too, right? We don't fake it as much because depending on the stage of sex that you're in, you may be just out to get a nut, to that point y'all was making earlier. But when you get physical, when you actually start getting into having sex and understanding the body and things like that, dudes fake it a lot for the same reasons women fake it, for the ego, because they care about the person. But to avoid that, you have those conversations prematurely. What you like, what you into. How would you like if I do something like this or something like that? That's really the basis of this conversation. You know, if it's a one night stand, you meet somebody in the club, y'all both had, you know, having a good time, you're not having those conversations. It is what it is. You know, the person that finishes first is the person that's going to get off. Right?
It's a race.
Right. It's a race. But if it's a situation where you're getting to know the person and then casually y'all talking about sex and things like that, that's the time to really get to know what that person likes. So when you're having sex for the first time, you're not having those, oh shit, is she happy? Oh shit, am I doing the right conversations? I mean, that's the way I feel about it.
Yeah,
and a lot of times too, with the ego part of it, there could be a point where the man feels as if he is doing you right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So and until you say something, he's gonna keep doing business as usual because in his mind, you making noises. So I must be doing something. And that's how Envy put it. He's like, he hears the ooh ahs and all of that. He's thinking, you know, I'm putting it down. And you know what I'm saying? So the ego too is the nonverbal communication or you know, the faking it. As her faking it for 10 years, he thinking he's putting in 10 years of work I'm a veteran now. I'm the man.
Got a
Which
decade out
again
here.
could lead to him cheating and stepping out because he's like, I can't be just giving this to her. I need to share this. I am the man. My wife be screaming and hollering, climbing up the wall. Like, I don't know if that's how it happened, but it's a possibility. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying?
There's another side to that though, Paul. Because if that's his wife, he should really know. He should be more invested into her feelings and know whether or not she's fake.
And that's why I said that's part of the ego. They're not having that that conversation. He's just going off of, you know, what he's taking from it is just, I must be doing it right.
Or he don't care.
Or he don't care.
Because if that's your wife for 10 years, you know when that person is faking something, right? You know it. I just believe you know when a person is faking something. You having sex with this person continuously, you can't tell whether or not the oohs and ahs are real. And then you go have sex with somebody else. Then you go have so now you get a comparison, right? He's not the one that was her first or she was his only.
Right.
So that means he really didn't care.
Right.
To his point too, even if the actual physical act, he was fooled, there would be other tells as well, like how you know, how where's her desire to even have sex? Like, exactly. You know, like as far as
initiating,
you know, like why, you know, when they in it, he might be getting gassed or whatever. But you know how, you know, like how driven is she to actually have sex with you? You know what I'm saying? Like that, like she doing it. I guess, you know, I'm your wife, so I guess I got to do it. That's another mentality that's been, you know, from the olden days. But you know, what is her drive like? Because at the end of the day, it's if a woman is not, well, if anybody's not being satisfied, having sex with that person, that your drive is not gonna be the same at all. You might be going through the motions or whatever the case may be. So like he said, like it gotta be some sort of indication, even if it's not in the actual act.